candy, my favorite. It says it's super sour. We'll see. Super not sour at all. I like watermelon though.
Welcome to Kidsplosion!
This week's Bible verse is, "For we live by faith, not by sight." 2 Corinthians 5:7. The actions for this week's Bible verse are, we live by faith and not by sight. Alright, let's do it again. For we live by faith and not by sight. Great job.
This week we learned all about Daniel and how his faith was absolutely unstoppable. In the story we learn about these wise men that didn't really like Daniel because, man, the king kind of favored him. And so they created this new law and went to the king and said, hey, I've got a law. The law should be that nobody can worship anyone but you. And being the king was like, you know what? That's a great idea. So sure enough, he makes this a law. But here's the thing. Daniel had made a decision in his heart that he would only serve the one true God. And he would pray every single day and he would worship God. So it comes time for Daniel to actually pray. And so sure enough, he opens the windows to his house and he starts praying. And these men that wanted to beat up Daniel and get rid of Daniel were there looking into that window. And they saw that Daniel chose to worship God. So they ran back to the king and said, King, you can't believe it, but Daniel disobeyed you. Now that rule, and there's a consequence to that rule. And the rule was, if you broke it, you got thrown in a lion's den. So Daniel, he knew that praying could cause him harm. But because his faith was absolutely unstoppable, he knew that God was going to take care of him. I want to show you something. I've got 2 bottles up here, but I need some help. So, hey, Pastor Courtney, come help me real quick. Hey, I've got 2 bottles, and as you can see, one bottle is completely empty.
Okay.
And the other one, I put food coloring in so you could see it a little better, has water in it.
Okay.
So the first challenge I have for you, and this challenge is it could be super easy. If Gavin was here, he probably couldn't do it, but you definitely can. So will you crush that for me?
Crush it.
Yeah, just... You did that pretty quick.
Yeah.
Pretty
Pretty
easy.
strong.
Well, once it's crushed, we could just throw it away.
Oh.
It's not needed. So scale of 1 to 10, how easy was that?
Like 11. Super easy.
Like super duper easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next challenge is now, again, I just told you all that's in here is some water with food coloring.
Okay.
I want you to crush this. Now I've got one rule. You can't take the cap off.
Okay.
Okay, you just got to crush it. Go for it. Are you even trying?
I am trying, but this one's not in 11. I don't know. I can't.
One more time. Just crush it. Give it everything.
Nope.
Okay. So what do you think the difference was between the one that had nothing in it and this one?
Well, the one that had nothing in it was super easy to just
Right.
crush. I didn't even have to push it hard.
Right.
But this one, since it's got stuff in it, it's really hard to crush.
Absolutely. In fact,
I know.
like
It's so hard.
even I can't crush it. And
Well, if I couldn't, I knew you couldn't.
okay then. But this is a lot like Daniel. And the people thought that they could just crush Daniel, like the first one where, man, they could throw Daniel in the lion's den and just be crushed and destroyed and they would get rid of him. But because he chose to worship God and pray and to make his faith absolutely unstoppable, what was inside of him was greater than any lion or any rules that were created. He knew that God's power lived inside of him. And as much as I want to bust this open, it's impossible because there's water inside. That's the only difference between the first bottle and the second bottle. The only difference between the three men that wanted to get rid of Daniel and Daniel was God was living inside of him. Thanks for helping me.
You're welcome.
Man, Daniel has the opportunity to not trust God. And he had the opportunity to follow the rules and quit putting his faith in God. But he knew above everything else, if he continued to be like this bottle and allow God to live inside of him, that even when he goes down to a lion den or a lion's cave, nothing was going to happen to him. Because God always protects the ones that love him. And man, I can crush this all day long, but it's not going to break. And when you are like Daniel and you let your faith be unstoppable, you can be just as powerful as him.
Wow, Daniel had such unstoppable faith. I bet he loved to worship God and spend time with him just like I do. Come on, let's worship God together.
This week's main point is My faith in God makes me unstoppable. This week's actions are, my faith in God makes me unstoppable. Repeat after me. My faith in God makes me unstoppable. Good job.
Oh, somebody left candy here. Blackberry, no. Apple, no. Oh, watermelon. This says sour. I don't like sour, but it's candy.